Welcome to the MFR Coaches podcast, where we talk about how you can create a six-figure MFR practice. I'm your host, Heather Hommel. Not only have I been practicing MFR for 11 years, I'm also a life and business coach, especially for MFR therapists. My goal is for you to understand how to get fully booked, how to talk to your clients, and how to make sure they understand what's possible for them with MFR treatment. I'm here to help you stop under-earning, overworking, and burning out. I'll lend support so you can create the MFR practice you've always wanted. Learn how you can do it too, even if you live in a tiny town, and even if you're just starting out, and even if you've ran your practice for years. Let's go. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the MFR Coaches podcast. I am your host, as always, Heather, the MFR coach. And I am joined today by one of my coaching clients, Barb Long. Barb is the owner of MFR of Central California, and she practices out of both Hanford and Visalia, California. Did I say that right?
You sure did.
Awesome. Amazing. Okay. Well, Barb, welcome to the program. How are you?
I'm really good. Thank you for having me. This is really fun and scary.
Yeah. Well, I am so excited you're here. First of all, I know, Barb, I feel like you were maybe at either the first MFR seminar I took or like one of the very first ones I took, and you were an instructor. And so I always thought you were, I mean, I still think this, but I was like, oh, Barb is so cool.
I am cool.
Yeah. So it's like surreal for me that you're in my coaching program, which is just a huge honor to be your coach. And maybe, do you think you can just share with the audience about your business, your path to becoming an MFR therapist? Give us a little background on how all that came together.
How I became an MFR therapist. So I work traditionally, I'm a PTA, and I was working in private practices. And I actually took my first class in 1990. But at that time, the PT did not want to do John's work. So I kind of put it back on the shelf. In 2000, I was working for another therapist who agreed to pay for classes. So I went, and I just became so hooked on the work. And I was seeing that, you know, what we could provide in the PT office, and me standing and watching people doing exercises was not what myofascial release was about. And I just totally got hooked. So I took, all the classes and became an instructor. And then in 2003, my boss kind of gave me a little kick, I think you need to go out go out on your own. So I went out and got my massage certificate and opened my own practice in 2003, and I never really looked back. And when I was kind of in that little transition period, Therapy on the Rocks offered me a summer job. So I went down to Sedona and worked in John's clinic, and it was I was green. I was really green. But I got such good experience just to bring back to my practice. And I've been, love every minute of my work, and I still try to help a little bit, and I work a lot, and I love it.
I love that. That's so cool. What a cool experience to work at Therapy on the Rocks. And
it was amazing.
Do you fill in there still from time to time?
Not very often anymore. Yeah, because I'm busy here. So
yeah. Yeah. Well, it's amazing how your own business can just take off. And then it's like, oh, I don't even have time to do this cool thing that I used to do. Yeah. But I think just getting the experience is a once in a lifetime. Yeah. What a cool thing. All right. So what was going on in your practice that led you to come to Raise Your Rate Bootcamp, which I think is the first time I saw you in the coaching container?
Well, for years I've been undercharging, and pretty much, besides it's an issue of my own self-worth, but I do live in a rural area in California, and I just know that people are struggling. I work for a lot of farmers, and they're struggling with all the problems with water and all that. So I really hesitated. I was scared to death, like everyone else in this coaching environment is scared to raise my rate. And so I did. Well, kind of the timing of the coaching boot camp in April was I was going through my house, my pool. I had needed to redo my pool. I had all these plumbing issues. I had to get an implant. I mean, all this money was just going out. And I was just like, I need to do something. I'm self-employed. I don't have a big, nest egg for employment or retirement. So that's heavy on my mind. So I was so terrified to raise my price, but you got me through it.
Awesome. Yeah. And I think this is so important to have this conversation with, especially you, because like you've worked at Therapy on the Rocks. You've been a therapist for like what, 20 plus years, if I'm doing the math. Wow, like that's amazing. And you've had a business, like you're successful in your business. Like getting clients is not a problem for you. Being fully booked is not a problem for you, yet you are under earning, right? And you wanted to make a change. So I think it's really important that we have these conversations and we show people that it doesn't matter how long you've been in business. It doesn't matter how skilled you are as an MFR therapist. You could still be under earning. And when you under earn, you risk burning out. You risk like hurting yourself because you're working so hard to try to make the income that you want to make. So you came to Raise Your Rate Bootcamp. And at what point were you like, shit, I'm actually going to raise my rate?
Well, day one, that's why I was there.
Yeah, that's awesome. Was there one thing you learned or one thing you heard me say that was like the tipping point from this isn't for me to like, I'm going to do this. I'll be able to do this.
Well, when you were saying like, because I've kind of brought up, I think, about, well, what about your experience? How come people that have a lot of experience can't add that into their little equation? And you were kind of like, you got to facts and figures, take out the drama. So when I kind of learned about that and you were saying you deserve retirement. So, adding in just those kind of numbers that I didn't really think about being in my actual number before was just so helpful. And I'm like, oh, I do, I deserve to have a retirement as well. So
yeah. And the thing is when you're self-employed, like nobody's going to give it to you. So if you can't figure out how to give it to yourself, like nobody's coming to be like, hey, Barb, just retire. And here's 50 grand a year or 100 grand a year for you to live off of. Like
or a
Merry
watch
Christmas.
or nothing. Yeah.
Yeah. No watch, no golden parachute, nothing. So rude. Okay. So I appreciated when you asked that question in class because it really made me have to get clear about why we set our rates on facts and data and why skill level doesn't play a part in setting your rate. Because so many people want to, I've been in business for years, like I deserve to get paid more, or I should be able to get paid more, like all these things. And it's like, well, what happens for all these new therapists or newer therapists if they never under earn? Like, what is the difference in their experience in their business if they start charging right from the beginning? And we're starting to see that happen more and more now, like first year therapists making six figures. And it's blowing my mind. Like it's proving the promise, first of all, which is incredible. And second, I think it changes the trajectory of the field of MFR therapists. And
Definitely.
we go from being under earners with a chip on our shoulders to like, this is what we do. And like, it just amplifies everything. They get more treatment, more therapy for themselves. They go to more seminars. So then they become even better therapists, which gives me goosebumps. It's like the most awesome side effect from being a six-figure earner.
I'm just so grateful for your program because that is just so true. Because now that we have social media to get all of this information out and support each other, and it's just amazing. And thank you for doing what you do because I've learned so much from you.
Thank you. And I, the same way, like in seminars, like I just remember learning from you too. So this is just like a surreal moment for me.
Oh,
Barb, are you talking to me? Like, it's so funny. Okay. Come back in your body, Heather. It'll be all right. Let's talk about your numbers. You want to share with us kind of like what your income was before Raise Your Rate Bootcamp?
So the 4 months before, which was January through April, I made 32.
Okay. 32,000.
Yes. And then, so that was an average of 8,071 per month, an average of 21.1 patients per week. And then after boot camp, I went up to 48,909, and I'm still averaging 20 a week.
Amazing. So you increased your income by over $10,000, right?
I had 2 really, really good months.
Tell me what your biggest months were.
I had a 21,162 month and a 14,690 month.
Amazing.
It was amazing.
What's your average now per month with your new rate?
10,150.
That's amazing. $10,000 months are what gets you to a six-figure business.
Yeah.
And what are you at total for the year right now?
For this year, for
Yep.
8 months, 81,195.
Amazing. Can you remember what you would typically make in a year overall before you raised your rate?
I don't.
Okay. Would you hit near six figures?
I think sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you're going to for sure this year. It's only August and you're at 81,000. So knowing that, how does that feel in your body?
It really, really helps my nervous system to think that, okay, I'm not doing as bad as I thought.
Yeah. You're actually doing great.
And then with your other coaching about, money and the beliefs of money and everything else we're learning, it really makes me feel better.
Awesome. That's so cool. I just want to congratulate you because I know, I don't take raising rates lightly. It isn't easy, but it is easier when you have kind of a reasoning behind the rate. The whole process to raise rate bootcamp, it's a 5-day training. So we really cover all of the obstacles to raising your rate, all of the mental gymnastics that you have to go through to become the person that can charge what you charge. And also just really gathering all the facts and data. It's some work to gather all of that information. And then I'm constantly, now that you've joined the 12-month coaching program, you probably hear me say all the time, what are your facts? What is your data? How, know these things, just like how you can pull your numbers and right where you are with your income. That's important. So then you just know that you're okay. You know what you can and can't afford, and all of your goals and all of these things, which keeps you on track. So how do you feel about your ability now to save for retirement and to actually create a retirement for yourself before you're ready to be done?
Oh, a lot more positive. And then you guys were mentioning another co-host that you had that I want to listen to and learn from her as well. So
yes, I think we're talking about Gina Knox, which she has this amazing program called Six Figure Savers. So anyone who's listening, go check her out. I think her web address is ginaknox.co. And she has this amazing system. It's called Six Figure Savers. And it teaches you how to save six figures, which blew my mind when I first heard about that. I was like, who in their right mind can save six figures? I'm having trouble making six figures, right? So the program is incredible. And it's a really good complement to my program because it's I'm not a money coach. I'm a business coach, and she is just a money and wealth coach. So it's a really good complement. But yes, there will be lots of interactions with the Gina Knox. She's awesome.
Your modules are just packed with so much information. And I've thought many times, I'm so glad my business is going and rolling because there's just so much that we're learning. And I can tweak here and tweak there. I've got a whole list of things that I'm wanting to tweak. And it's amazing what I've gained already in a month.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Yeah, in a month, right? We've only been at this for 4 weeks, and it's really fun to see. So you weren't in my other coaching programs, but before, I didn't have the 90-day foundations pulled out. So you kind of had to go through everything to figure out where you wanted to go. It was kind of all just jammed together. And when we went to this 12-month format and with much more people in it at a time, I was like, we need to get so clear about what the steps are that anyone can come in here. And the curriculum can also serve basically as a coach. It needs to be just as good as I am when I'm not there. So I'm glad to hear that you're making a list and finding your way through it and kind of tackling all the things that you want to implement in your business. I think one of the other important skills is overcoming objections. Have you gone through overcoming objections?
I've listened to the
training.
Yeah.
So 3 of the main important steps in the program is definitely Raise Your Rate Bootcamp. And then we have overcoming objections, and we have selling MFR. Have you done anything in the program to learn how to overcome objections? Are you starting to spot those with your patients and help them?
Definitely. I, made a list of things that I could say, for different objections. And so I'm starting to use them and just feel a little bit more confident in letting it, sound like it's me. And I'm selling a lot more of the 6-session packages to new people, like right off the bat. And, this is the way it is. We want the best results that you can have. You need to do this. Because before I was like, I kind of let them do what they want. I was not good at selling MFR.
Yeah. And I think that's, first of all, normal and what most people do. So the difference between knowing that you can sell it on purpose and knowing that you can overcome objections, like, just makes you a better therapist, because I'm sure that with your patients now, when they buy a package of 6, they're getting much better results.
Definitely.
And it doesn't even matter how good of a therapist you are. Like, you can be the best therapist, but if your clients only come one time, they're not getting what's fully available for them.
No.
Yeah. I love that. Like, having you all go through the program and like become sellers of MFR and confident about overcoming objections and just being able to have those conversations so that clients get more and more and more treatment. Like, that's the goal. And I just imagine like the ripple effect of those clients out there walking around in the world that instead of hobbling can run, right? Because we'd all choose to run versus hobble. And we're really showing them like, look, hobbling might seem like a great place to be from where you were, but what if you can run? And like offering that to them.
Yeah.
It's incredible. It kind of reminds me too of like my own MFR story with my husband and how he, like we rolled into Sedona, like with him in a wheelchair and using a walker and a cane. And then he climbed Cathedral Rock.
Amazing.
Right? Like, he didn't know that was even available to him when we got there. And we can be creating these in our own office. Like, people don't just have to go to Sedona for that result. Like, they can have them in our offices.
Right. And I like what you say. You say that we give them hope. And that's a big thing. Because if they don't have hope, they don't have, anything. So,
yeah. And I think too, like, becoming the expert in the room.
Mm-hmm.
And this is like, even for new people, you're the expert in the room with the client. The client doesn't know what's possible. They don't have the hope that we know that they can have. Like, it's our duty to tell them these things so that they can opt in.
Right.
One of my expert level skill sets is selling MFR. I honed this skill over a decade of working as an MFR therapist. I doubled down on this skill and became fully booked, and then booked out for months and months and months at a time. But let's be honest, I kind of sucked at it before I ever figured out how to really sell MFR. I don't want it to take you as long as it took me to go from sucking at sales to awesome at it. Register for my training, How to Sell MFR to Anyone in Any Situation, right now. Go to www.themfrcoach.com/sell-MFR. The results that your clients get from MFR largely depend on your willingness and your ability to make excellent recommendations to your clients, which just means your willingness to sell MFR. A lot of clients don't get the best help they need because you're too afraid to sell MFR to them. I'm going to say that again. A lot of clients don't get the best help they need because you're too afraid to sell MFR to them. I've seen this time and time again. You're scared the client might say no, so you don't say anything at all. So instead of selling MFR, you allow the client to come at the frequency and spacing they want, and they get subpar results. Subpar results are never our aim as MFR therapists. If you aren't really good at selling MFR on purpose, subpar results will be what happens. Who wants to limp when they can run? Join me on November 1st at noon Central Time Zone. I'm going to teach you how to sell MFR to anyone in any situation. You will notice an increase in your rebook rate. You will notice how brave you are in the treatment room during sales conversations. You will stop leaving it up to clients. You will start to be in control of your business and your schedule. This starts and ends with your sales skills. Register today at www.themfrcoach.com/sell-MFR. I'll see you November 1st at noon Central. Links to everything are located in the show notes. So Tell me a little bit about how your clientele has changed or if it's changed since you raised your rate. Like you raised your rate. I know you were afraid you were going to just like lose everybody. Everyone was breaking up with Barb. What was the reality of that for you?
I did have a few breakups, and even with people who I thought, had the money to support it, which was a little bit surprising. However, like I had the most, I didn't write this down, but the most new patients ever within like May and June.
Why do you think all of a sudden?
I don't know, just maybe because my energy is going towards my business, or maybe I started dabbling in, posting on Instagram and Facebook more, but it was crazy. And then I started, massage book online scheduling.
Yeah.
And then you'll get appointments from all these people. You don't even have to talk to them. And
yeah. And they're just like, here's my money, sign me up.
And so one news patient even bought 2 packages before even coming in.
Wow.
And that was pretty incredible. You just started yesterday.
That's so fun. And so you're fully booked, and are you like booked out for weeks and months, or what's your schedule like?
No, not really. I've never been one to book out because I like put people in if they need to get in.
Oh, got it. Okay. So people know they can just like get a last minute with you.
Well, even new patients, it's like, oh, I don't want you to wait 3 months,
Okay.
And
that's hilarious.
We're gonna coach to work on boundaries.
Yeah, it's only 4 weeks in, Barb. Like,
okay.
We'll have a follow-up with Barb later on.
There we go.
For this again. That's so funny. What is it like for you though now when you are having people buy packages and schedule all their treatment in? Is that creating you to be more booked out consistently because they're buying the packages and they're showing up for more treatment?
Oh, definitely. I'm booked out much further than I've ever been before, but I still have, like 2 weeks, like I've got spots.
Okay. I think that that's not a problem, especially like for your nervous system. If it makes you feel better to have availability for last minute people, and that's just what you like, as long as you're not overworking. So we'll just have to keep checking in to make sure you're not overworking. And
we're still on that a little bit.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, when you were under earning before, because you weren't charging near enough, you do have to work harder to make the same amount of money, or to even, you weren't making the same amount of money. You're making far less, working the same amount of hours or even more. So what do you do now? Like not having to hustle so hard? What is that like?
Well, right now I'm kind of consumed with going through your modules and getting through everything. So I am kind of still busy quite a bit, with just busy work, listening to the replays of your podcasts and going through everything I want to be changing. So I'm still pretty busy.
Yeah. But there's like a difference between like the physical hands-on work and then like, I don't know, if you're like me, I kind of love when I find content I want to consume. It's kind of leisurely for me. I don't know if you're having that experience with my content, but like when I consume my coach's content, I'll be like doing laundry, doing the dishes, or like taking a bath. And I'm just like constantly listening to it.
Definitely.
And then implementing and making changes like right away. So it's like fresh in my brain, which I love.
Yeah. Doing it from home in your jammies is a lot different than going to your office.
Yeah. And having to people and all of that stuff. Yes.
Yeah.
So funny. Well, what would be your biggest takeaway so far from being in the coaching container? What's like blown your mind?
There's just so many things, Heather. It's really hard to put it into one, but I know like my self-confidence and maybe getting people what they need, being a better therapist in that 6-week little chunk, even though we want them to have more than one package. But I think I'm showing up better for people. I want them to get, their new money worth. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's just so much that I've gotten out of it.
I love it. It's like sometimes a lot of it is like intangible at first, and you won't even know until like a year from now, like, oh, this has totally changed,
Yeah.
Which is fun. You had posted in the group, I think the first week the Facebook group was open, that you had already made your money back for your investment in coaching. Do you want to talk about that?
Oh yeah. I was, starting to look at my numbers like a good student would. And I'm like, oh my God, I already made, your fee was 3,000 and I had already made an extra 3,000 compared to previously. So I'm like, that was easy.
That's amazing. And you have coaching for the whole rest of the year and you paid for it in the first week we were open. So that's really good. I just want to congratulate you for doing that and also for figuring that out because it's really cool. And then you don't have to sit there and worry about like, what is my return on investment for here? Like you've already gotten the actual money back. You've already created that money. And now everything else is just like extra. And you can just use that momentum to keep going and keep creating whatever it is that you want.
Right.
And I think it's pretty inevitable that you're going to have a 6-figure year in 2023, even with, half the year on your own, which is great.
Pretty exciting.
Yeah. How important is it for you to be able to earn 6 figures or more living where you live and having the life that you want to have?
It's very important. Yeah.
Yeah. It allows you to like do what you want to do. Is there anything you're doing now more than you weren't doing, like that you were putting off doing before when you weren't having $10,000 months?
I think I've been traveling for treatment lately because I've got something going on with my back. But like before I would kind of like justify it. And now it's like, okay, that's in my little budget. That's in my numbers. Mm-hmm. I signed up for 2 classes, one this year and one next year already. And it's just it's in my budget. Don't think about it.
I love that so much. And I think it's so badass. It's like, oh yeah, I just get treatment. Like I just know I can pay for it because I've budgeted for it. And it's when we're even saying budgeted for it, it's like part of why you charge the rate you charge. Like for every session you do, there's like a little slice of it going towards that category. This is for my own MFR and this is for my training. And I think knowing that you have that sets you up to be a better therapist because you're calmer in the treatment room. You're not like desperate for people to come in. You've created a fully booked schedule. You can create $10,000 months. Did you ever think about what it would be like to have a $20,000 month and a $14,000 month and now consistent $10,000 months? Like you know how to turn money on and turn it off, I guess.
Yeah, I would have never dreamt of that before.
Amazing. I loved getting messages from you as you were like, we had closed up Raise Your Rate Bootcamp and then you sent me a DM like, I'm having a $20,000 month. I can't believe this is happening. That's so fun. So fun.
That was pretty crazy. So I did sell 250, I think, sessions in my little legacy campaign. Mm-hmm. And I've still got like 78 more to go.
That's like, you've done a lot of those sessions.
Yeah.
In a short amount of time. So like, as soon as these 78 sessions are spent out, then everybody will be on your new rate.
Things will change. Yeah.
Like things will go
better. Yeah.
Right. So you've had a lot of prepaid sessions and you're still having $10,000 months.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Like that's such an incredible result. Has that been weird to like pre-sell like that and then know that these people have these pre-sold out there, but still be bringing in these high cash months?
Yeah. Cause like someday I'll be like, oh, I'm not going to be making anything this week because everyone's prepaid. And then I'll get like that person who signed up online and bought 2 packages. Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh, it can still roll in even though I'm committed to these people right now, Yeah.
Yes. I think knowing that and being available for it, like having your online booking, it sets you up for those opportunities where there are just people out there that want what you have and they want to prepay you. All these new people.
Yeah. I didn't think people would prepay for their initial session, but they are without question.
Mm-hmm. And that's nice for you too. Then you don't have to hunt people down or worry, are these people going to no-show? Like people that pay for their sessions usually show up.
Exactly. Because they were my worst people for no-showing was an initial session. So.
Oh, isn't that interesting? So this is a great side effect of having online booking. Like they can't get out of not prepaying. So mm-hmm. I love that.
I love it.
Yeah, that's so good. Hey therapist, get ready to join the MFR Coaches 12-month Business Foundation program. Doors open November 1st through 15th. This is your last chance to join in 2023. When you join us in November, you get the option to use our payment plan at no additional cost to you And I'll even send you my awesome workbook. Visit www.themfrcoach.com/coaching for more information on the program and to get ready to join. Don't forget, terms and conditions apply. See the show notes for more details. Well, is there anything that you would say or recommend to people that are a highly seasoned therapist like you and they're not sure if coaching is for them? Like, what would you tell them?
Oh, geez. Like I said, I've made a big list of things that I can just tweak. You've given us so much things like, what you should have on your website and just little things that I'm changing. So even though I think everybody's businesses can use a little bit of polishing, what you say to patients when they're saying, well, I can't afford this or I don't have time, knowing what to say with confidence. It's very, very, very beneficial.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I'm glad I get to work with you for an entire year. It's going to be so fun to see.
And meet you.
We're going to have so much fun. It's going to be so fun to see what conversation are we having 6 months from now and a year from now? What are we talking about? What has changed in your business? What have you tweaked? What have you polished? And what are the results of those things? And I imagine you're going to have even better client stories, like client outcome stories. And those are the ones I'm the most excited to hear about, are those people that maybe would have historically come for 3 or 4 sessions who you were able to sell MFR to for 20 sessions. And now their lives are changed forever.
That's so true. Because I used to do an intro package because Therapy on the Rocks had a package of 3. So I'm like, okay, that's what I need to do. So over the years, I sold a lot of those. And a lot of people would think, okay, 3 were done. And I was just not telling them, okay, this is I probably was, but I wasn't so concrete about it. This is just the beginning. So now that they're committed to 6, they're going to see a lot. Potentially, they're going to see more of a change initially.
Yeah. And you're just going to get better at selling the 6 and then being and now we're doing 6 more and now we're doing 6 more. You're here with me, plan to be with me for a year of treatment. And let's, see what's possible for you when you stay that long. And not everybody needs the package, right? Some people come in and maybe they're on maintenance, or maybe I was just having this conversation with someone who's never had MFR outside of me treating them at a conference we were at for 4 or 5 minutes in my hotel room. And they're like, you always talk about this being for people who are in chronic pain, but I don't identify as that, but I want to have MFR, but I'm not sure, is it for me? And so I was like, okay, I've got to be conscious of how I'm talking about this. And also, how do I talk about this person and let them know that because they have a human body, that they can have results from this?
That's a good point.
A lot of people have migraines all the time, but they don't consider that chronic pain.
Yeah.
Or even really painful periods, but they don't identify as that being chronic pain, or even a hip that goes out all the time, not chronic pain identifiers. So being able to talk about it in a lot of different ways, and also catch when we're saying things that aren't landing with our ideal clients, which are all humans. So being able to connect multiple different ways. So I plan to continue to observe that happening out in the world so that I can come back into our coaching container and be like, this is what I've observed and this is the fix for it. And now you guys go put it into practice and see if that lands with your patients better. It's basically what I do all day. This is what I'm observing. Here's the fix. You guys go try it out. Let me know how it goes. Let's see if it helps.
Awesome. I'm excited.
Yes.
See what you bring in.
Yes. Okay. Where can people find you? How do they get into your books? How do they look you up? How do they get on your schedule?
So on Instagram and Facebook, it's MFR of Central California. And then right now I'm using the website that's connected to our massage book scheduler. And you can go to Massage Book and search my name and find me there.
Awesome. And would they search Barb or Barbara?
Barbara.
Okay. So search for Barb's name, Barbara Long, on massagebook.com, and that will pull her up so you can get easy booking. And I'll have all the links for you guys to find Barb in the show notes. Are you also on the directory?
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. So you can also just easily go to mfrtherapist.com and search for her business name, MFR of Central California, or just search for Barbara's name, and you will find all of her contact information there. So awesome. Thanks so much for being here. It's been a pleasure to interview you. So fun to work with you and see you every Tuesday on our calls. And I look forward to the follow-up podcast interview to see how you're doing a little later on.
I look forward to that too. Thank you so much. Yeah,
thank you. For everybody else, her contact information will be in the show notes. And I will see you all on another episode of the MFR Coaches Podcast. Bye-bye. Thanks for joining me today. My mission is to help every MFR therapist become a part of the movement where no MFR therapists ever under-earn or burn out. Join my 12-month coaching program. You'll spend the first 90 days setting up your foundation to create your six-figure business. Then you'll go to work and uncover exactly what's holding you back from the business that you want and desire. Get support while you raise your rates, set your policies, and learn how to talk about MFR and how to sell MFR in service of your clients. Learn exactly how you can do it too, even if you live in a tiny town and even if you've had your business for years. This program is open to all MFR therapists who want to create what is possible when you stop playing small and start showing up in your full power as the John Barnes trained MFR therapist you are. Put your magic to work in the world and help more people get out of pain and back to active lifestyles. I'll help you do it. Go to www.themfrcoach.com/coaching and sign up right now.